And a very warm welcome to all of you here to the Barony Hall, which is one of the jewels in the university's estate, for this wonderful graduation ceremony. These days are always very special in the academic calendar, and no more special for our graduands who are here before me and also behind me on the stage. But in the course of the next 45 minutes or so, they'll be transformed into Strathclyde graduates. So to all the family, friends, other supporters, it's great to have you here, this great array of colour, and thankfully the sun is out as well. For those of you from further afield who haven't been to Glasgow very often, the weather is always like this. In fact, it's a little bit cooler today than normal, but do come back and visit us. On these very special occasions, we have the joy on occasion to celebrate not only the achievement of our students, but we bring back highly accomplished graduates. And today I'm delighted to say that Sarah Jardine is here with us, a graduate of Strathclyde's Physics Department, about whom you'll hear a little more shortly, who is going to be presented with the Alumna of the Year Award, which we're very proud of, and Professor Gianluca Oppo of the Physics Department will tell you a little bit more about her. So before we do that, I'm going to declare this congregation formally open and invite Gianluca to present our Alumna of the Year. Thank you very much.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you Sarah Jardine, Senior Director of Manufacturing at Optos plc, a world-leading manufacturer of retinal eye imaging devices. Sarah began to study physics at Strathclyde in 1988, inspired and following in the steps of her physicist father, Billy Ballantyne, the headmaster at Ayr and Kilwinning Academies. Sarah graduated in the Department of Physics in 1992 in laser physics and optoelectronics, the degree that completely turned the history of our department and at the base of our most recent success and international reputation. 1 year later, Sarah was awarded a Master of Science degree in laser and engineering at Heriot-Watt University. Her master project was done in collaboration with Edinburgh Instruments, her first connection with industry. In 1993, Sarah joined Pilkington, now Thales, Optronics in Govan, where she worked as a laser engineer for 7 years. After this experience in the defense environment, Sarah found her call to work in the manufacturing division of industries with a far more useful impact to society. In 2000, she moved to Optos in Dunfermline. Optos was founded in 1992 by Douglas Anderson after his then 5-year-old son went blind in one eye when a retinal detachment had been detected too late. As a senior optical engineer, Sarah made major contributions in redesigning Optos' most iconic product, the wide-field single-shot retinal imaging device. She made it easier to manufacture, more efficient, and much cheaper. And what a success it was. By the end of 2014, Optos had grown from strength to strength, with revenues and operating income of more than $170 million. In 2015, Optos was acquired by Nikon, the Japanese camera giant, for a striking $400 million, and is one of the world leaders in single-capture retina imaging. At Optos, Sarah progressed through the operation and R&D teams to her current role of Director of Manufacturing. In 2015, Sarah was appointed the chairperson of the Scottish Manufacturing Advisory Board, the first woman to take this position. The Scottish Manufacturing Advisory Board supports all sizes of businesses from all sectors to become more profitable, competitive, and successful. In 2016, Sarah was selected to be in the top 100 by the specialized publication The Manufacturer that promotes best practice in the manufacturing industry. I quote, "People are at the heart of how Sarah runs her manufacturing division. Since taking over as Director of Manufacturing at Optos, she has managed to create an environment where people have fun, they are engaged, open, and participative. Inspirational." Sarah is now part of the strategic leadership group for the National Manufacturing Institute for Scotland, which was announced by our First Minister earlier this year as part of the Scottish Government's Manufacturing Action Plan. And this year, Sarah was listed as a leading woman of life sciences by the Life Sciences Scotland, a group of industry and government agencies. I met Sarah in 1991, shortly after I moved here from North America. I've been educated in chauvinist Italy, where men and women have well-identified and apparently unexchangeable roles. How wrong. Sarah's career, skills, and examples have been enlightening for me, or better, laser enlightening. Throughout her career, Sarah made possible the impossible and never perceived that barriers due to sexism in the workplace should interfere with the aims and the targets of her job. And she did this always with grace, style, and with a smile. When working at Thales Optronic, years before the use of PowerPoint, a male colleague left on her desk a pile of overhead projector slides with a post-it note saying, "Sarah, can you clean this with acetone?" Sarah took the slides back to her colleague's desk with a new post-it note saying, "Yes, you can." Sarah is the accomplishment of all the Strathclyde values, years and years before they have been written. Innovative, bold, and ambitious goals. Through Sarah's work, Optos has developed into a world leader in medical optics devices, where physical sciences are applied for the health benefit of the greater community. People-oriented and collaborative, the manufacturing teams under Sarah's leadership at Optos have realized new devices while working in a new, open, engaging, and effective environment. A true success story that we can be proud of at the University of Strathclyde. Sarah's skill to go on with the job, no matter how challenging it is, and to transform these challenges in opportunities and real devices for medical applications are remarkable. Her career is a testament to her innovative approach, scientific knowledge, and engineering skills, all coupled to an uncommon managerial ability based on cooperation, collaboration, and appreciations of every team's member's work. Sarah has demonstrated to me that there should be no special roles for women in our society, because Sarah doesn't see herself as a woman who happens to be the Director of Manufacturing at Optos, but the Director of Manufacturing at Optos who happens to be a woman. And that should be an amazing and an inspiring fact for us all. Let's face it, there are no reasons whatsoever for gender roles in the workplace in our society. In my daily experience, I see that women do exceptional jobs in roles that have been for too long the monopoly of men. Look at Sarah. Look at our First Minister. I said First Minister. It is then with great pleasure, therefore, Principal and Vice Chancellor, then I ask you to present the Alumna of the Year to Sarah Jardine.
Sarah, many congratulations. We're so proud of your achievements, and it's wonderful to be able to recognise it so publicly. So just be careful. Well done. Please.
There's a lot of people here. Principal, Vice-Chancellor, graduates, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to start by thanking the university for honouring me with this award, and Gianluca for his kind words and for not sharing all of the stories he knows about me. I'd also like to congratulate everyone graduating today on everything you've achieved so far. All of you are about to start a new and exciting chapter of your lives where the possibilities and opportunities are endless. Gianluca's right when he says that I don't see myself as a woman who happens to be a director, but a director who happens to be a woman, and I've never viewed my gender as a barrier or an advantage to anything. But that's all down to my mum and dad, who taught all of their daughters that the only limits we're subject to are the ones that we set for ourselves. And they showed me how to raise my own strong, opinionated, confident daughter. I'd also like to thank my husband at this point for being a true partner, my biggest cheerleader, and the best sounding board I've had for almost 30 years, despite the fact that he graduated in bioscience and not physics. I really enjoyed and valued my time at Strathclyde. I'm proud to say that I'm a graduate of this university, and I'm very humbled that Gianluca thinks that I embody all the values of this fine institution. Even although I actually wasn't a brilliant scientist, I probably wasn't even a good scientist. I didn't graduate anywhere close to the top of my class, and I spent 4 years working really hard to actually just keep up with everyone else, doubting at times that I was cut out to be a physicist at all, and resenting the people who could simply turn up and listen and then fly through their exams, making it all look easy. I didn't pass everything first time. There was actually one calculus class that took me 3 attempts. But this time, 26 years ago, I stood here and I collected a 2-2 in laser physics and optoelectronics that I knew I'd put everything into. And I'd learned 2 very important lessons that have served me well through the rest of my career. Number 1, if something's worth having, it's worth working hard for. And number 2, in this life, you will fail more times than you will win. And the win is actually in the journey to get there. So as you guys all leave today and go on to make your mark in the world, what are the things that I have learned that might help you? If I had all the time in the world today, I'd talk to you about listening to the people who actually do the job. No one knows better than them how it works, how to fix it when it goes wrong, or how to improve it. I'd talk to you about making it easy to do the right thing through good product and process design. But all of you will learn more by doing than anything else, just like I did. A tough but valuable lesson I had to learn was that just because your design works on paper doesn't mean it works in practice, or even when you model it. For example, if you design a laser rangefinder on a vibration-isolated optical bench, and it actually needs to be isolated from vibrations to work, when you put it in a helicopter, you might run into a few issues. Or when you tie its own parachute to it and throw it out of a plane. I learned that you can hermetically seal anything you like for all the best design reasons in the world, but in a hot, humid battlefield somewhere in the world, if the device gets condensation inside, someone will actually drill a hole in the bottom to let the water run out to make it work again. I also learned that vomit can destroy more optical coatings than sand or salt water, but that's another story for another time. And for any of you considering a management position, what would my advice be? You have to understand it's not all about you. You'll need to understand that every individual has a contribution to make, to learn how to develop that in each person and be successful through others. The one thing that all good leaders have is followers. And you gather them by leading by example and giving credit and taking the blame all by yourself. Throughout my career, people's questions have never really surprised me as much as their opinions, as well as the That's a Boys subject opinion of my course choice in the late 80s. My all-time favourite has to be, we don't make anything in Scotland anymore, Dad. Or that a move into manufacturing is somehow a step down in an organisation. The 180,000 people employed in the manufacturing sector today in Scotland equates to 7% of our workforce. But that 7% really punch above their weight and are real wealth generators for the economy, as they account for 10% of the economic output. Sure, that's less than it was 40 years ago, but more than 50% of our international exports and 50% of our research and development spend are accounted for by manufacturing companies, meaning that they're predisposed to international trade and innovation. For every job created in manufacturing, 2 more are created in the rest of the economy, and average pay in the manufacturing sector is higher than in the rest of the economy. So what else can I say to tempt you all into a career in manufacturing? Scottish and UK manufacturing businesses cannot compete with low-cost, high-volume manufacturing regions in the world. So the shape of our manufacturing landscape is changing, as we've seen over the last few decades. Future growth in manufacturing will come from lower volume, higher value, high quality, complex premium products, which will require increasingly more complex and innovative materials, design solutions and manufacturing processes. We are on the brink of the 4th Industrial Revolution, and in his Made Smarter report, Professor Jürgen Meyer, who's the CEO of Siemens UK, says that we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to boost productivity, generate new higher-paid, higher-skilled jobs and increase exports. And he estimates that that opportunity for the UK economy as a whole is worth £455 million. Today, emerging disruptive technologies are targeting manufacturing in the same way as they targeted the way that we shop. And look how successful that was. The challenges that UK manufacturing sector is about to face to truly compete on the world stage needs the brightest, sharpest, most inquiring minds to be ready to rise to the challenge. Are you up for that? But a word of caution. If you choose a career in manufacturing, it's not your intellectual brilliance that will earn you respect, but rather your humility. It will be your behaviours that define you, your ability to admit when things have gone wrong, and the way that you respond to correcting the problem. It will be your willingness to listen to other people and take on board their input and suggestions for improvement, and your ability to communicate openly and clearly with everyone from the shop floor to the boardroom. Even if your chosen career doesn't lead you into manufacturing, I would ask that everyone here tries to make one thing, and that's a difference. I would also ask that you maintain a healthy dissatisfaction with the status quo and that you try to do both of these things every day. I'd like to finish here today the way I started, by thanking the university for honouring me with this award and by congratulating all of you on your achievements so far. I wish you all the best in whatever you decide to do in future and wherever your careers takes you. Be proud that you're a Strathclyde graduate as you take this next step on your journey into a world where you can be anything. But please just start by being yourself. Thank you.
Well done. Superb speech. Congratulations.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Pharmacy, for research in the Strathclyde Institute of Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences, Fiona Margaret McLean. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Applications of Next Generation Accelerators, David Reboredo-Gil. For research in the Department of Physics, Nicholas Mark Henry Butler. Derek Connor. Jason Robbie Garner. Gordon Robert Hithel. Duncan MacArthur, Andrew Ray McKellar, Rosemary Orr, Catherine Jean Ray, Leonard Alexander Ingmar Ramakas, Dean Richard Rusby, Maria Katharina Vicom, Robbie Wilson. For research in the Strathclyde Institute of Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences, Bashir Abdal Said. Faiz Abdulaziz S. Alfaiz. Alam Ismail Ibrahim Al-Baredi. Mariam Ali Muhammad Ahmed Badawi. Amanrat Hayun Garnavi. Claire McCluskey. Yus Nini Binti Yusuf. Tanya Muller. Khalid M.K. Omar. Khalid Ahmed Azmedi Salah. Salah M. Abdallah Tawati. Charles Frederick Webb. Samantha White. Yahya Zakaria Abdel Quadra Tabaza. For the degree of Master of Philosophy for research in the Strathclyde Institute of Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences, Samuel George Huff Gilbert. For the degree of Master of Research in Biomedical Sciences, Roshin Akram. Anisha Khan. In Immunology, Josephine Hull Duncombe Moore. For the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Physics, Saud Meshal K. Al-Taibi. In Pharmaceutical Analysis, Lauren Louise Lindsay Meacham. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics, Douglas Cameron, Marie Clifford, Daniel Dyer, Benjamin Richard McGrogan, Sean Patrick Malone, Jenny Pandazi, Ailey McGowan, Aidan John White, Robbie McDermott, Kevin Graham McKechnie, in physics with specialization in photonics, Rory Andrew Coulter Smith, in physics with specialization in quantum optics, Anna Gallagher Gribben, Shannon Foylan, Aidan Anthony McFadden, Connor Alexander McKeon, in physics with specialization in solid-state physics, Rory Thomas Murphy MacArthur, Ian David Miller, for the degree of Master in Science in Biochemistry, Matthew Stewart Gillespie, in Immunology, David Beattie, Stuart Craig McGillivray, Munjoma Lixon, in Microbiology, Jordan Murray, in Pharmacology, Scott Joseph Robert Jordan, Sarah Elizabeth Kelly, Dominica Filiomena McBride, Panayotis Pepis, Venkat Murali Krishna Vadlalmani, for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics, Julie Bryce Hamilton, Declan Robert McCourt, Molly McFarlane, Sean McLaughlin, Jack Chalmers Preston. Connor Forbes Galbraith. Edward Irwin. Catherine Julie McClellan. Cameron Ross Smith. Murray Williamson. Jennifer Louise Heighton. Callum Love. Louise Michelle MacDonald. Adam Ramsey. Anna Marguerite Taylor. Grant Andrew Reddy. William Stewart Twaddle. Stuart Archibald. Cameron Stewart Chape. Stuart Graham. Rory Stewart Wilson. In physics with teaching, Ross Angus. Alice Kilpatrick. In biochemistry and immunology, Derek Thomas Hardy. Nico Schultz. Heather May Clark. Ryan Doris. Claire Ann Hunter. Chloe Lauren Littlejohn. Anthony Stephen Moss. Emily Sophie O'Hanlon. Crawford Andrew Patterson. Campbell Watt. Darren Scott Kerr. Heather Louise Meekie. Catherine Rachel Payton. Atanas Yanchev. Beth Kerr Stephen. In biochemistry and microbiology, Brandon Allen Houghton. Saria Mansour. Alistair Gordon Thompson. Ryan Gray Thompson. Hayley Jane Byrne. Thomas Eric Jenkins. In biochemistry and pharmacology, Lewis McPherson. Jack Slight. Shannon Louisa Carr. Rachel Georgina Craig. Lisa Nicole Hughes. Jonathan Simon Jones. Julia Karen McKendrick. Claire Mackey. Robin Lee Scobie. Kang Pei Tao. Amani Abbas. Maria Apollonia Buesheshak. Gillian Burke. Brogan Doherty. Adam Robert Houston. Mitchell Kudjanyani Nemu. Craig Stolarek. Cameron Wan. In immunology and microbiology, Maya Tasmin Kamat. David Robert Mark. Jade Anderson Coleman. Alberto Giuseppe Facenda. Rory Neil Irvine. Marie Claire Kelly. Taran Alexander Young. Jonathan James Graham, Michael James Murphy, in Immunology and Pharmacology, Katie Elizabeth Flight, Gemma MacDonald, Gemma Milne, Taylor Ross, Lauren Beattie, Erin Alexandra Buchanan, Simon Thomas Cribbs, Kiva Doherty, Rebecca Jeanette Ewing, Shannon May Fairley, Marianne Haddo, Lucy Hunter, Nikki MacDonald, Katie Margaret Maguire, Mark Daniel Mulgrew, Ewan Murphy, Kieran Anthony Parker, Chloe Setter, Alima Shahzad, Andrew George Westwood, Andrew Whitelaw, Hannah Gardner, Emma Halley, Raida Hashmi, Alexander Keenan, John Miller, Rebecca Jane Farrell, in microbiology, Nicole Clerty, Sarah Megan Goodbrand, Ailey Terras, Ailey Victoria Bremner, Heather Marion Wren Perry, In pharmacology, Mehran Beg. James Robert McCourtney. Noor Ben Sadiq. Dominic Marley. In biomedical science, Amna Aziz. Zara Billah. Erin Grant. Laura Cunningham. Chloe Dayel. Naya Dev. Ailey Marie Fogo. Aisha Kamal. Amy Purvis. Anna Rachel Rennie. Sanya Yasmin Sadiq. Ellen Talbot. Leanne Thompson. Amy Truesdale. Omar Zahir. Anna Frances Campbell. Mariam Iftikhar. Fiona Muta Steele. Jennifer Burns. In biological sciences, Daniel Grierson.
Well, colleagues, let's give these graduates a big collective round of applause. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, graduates, let me reiterate our welcome to this wonderful ceremony. A day that none of you will forget. It marks the successful conclusions of years of hard work, effort and success, and now you've graduated in front of your friends and families. Today we welcome people from all over Scotland, throughout the UK, and indeed from across the globe. And we're delighted to see you all here at the Barony Hall today to join our celebrations. And as we reflect on the prevailing political dynamics in Scotland, the UK, throughout Europe and across the Atlantic more recently, it's worthwhile acknowledging the key role for universities such as ours here at Strathclyde. Strathclyde is an institution where freedom of thought is valued, and indeed we encourage it. We're a place that is both tolerant and inclusive, and where people of diverse national, cultural and social backgrounds come together to enjoy a great education and a shared student experience. And we all benefit from having students and staff from over 100 countries. Ours is a socially progressive institution and one that is an exemplar for modern society. Being plural, multicultural and enlightened is important. It's our responsibility, indeed it's your responsibility, to continue to challenge unacceptable practices, including by those in power that we witness in recent years. And we challenge that through reason and by exemplifying modern society and its connectivity. But of course, we're here today to acknowledge all of your hard work, the learning that you've built up and the successful completion of your degree courses. Appropriately enough, Thomas Edison, an electrical engineer like me, and the famous American inventor said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. I hope your own ratios were a little bit better than that. But indeed, I am a proud Glaswegian. I was brought up here in Glasgow in a sunny hamlet called Govan. And our town's historical motto is nihil sine labore, or nothing without hard work. And I try to embrace that ethos every day. And I would encourage that you try to take that approach into your careers going forward. Because today you've now become Strathclyde alumni, and you're the latest of our torchbearers, just like many generations of graduates before you. And with all that you've successfully come through, I know that you would agree that you couldn't have done any of this without the backing and encouragement of the community of supporters around you. And it's fitting that we acknowledge their part in the successful completion of your university studies. Our graduates and the university at large owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. I was the first in my family to go to university here at Strathclyde, as it happens, and I know the importance of such support. And I'm sure that today's graduates and our university staff would like to take the opportunity to thank your families, your friends and supporters for all that they've done to make today possible. Thank you very much indeed. And for our academic staff here up on the stage, this is a very important day for them because your success is ultimately their reward. Strathclyde has worked hard to provide you with a high-quality education, great career opportunities and a first-class university experience for all of our students, regardless of background. So, to my new graduates, join with me now, please, in thanking our academic staff and the support staff for all that they've done to support you in your journey and your achievements. Thank you, colleagues. A very brief history of our place. You should be aware that we were founded in 1796. This year we celebrated our 222nd birthday. And though I wasn't there at the opening ceremony, I hasten to add. And throughout our history, the University of Strathclyde has remained faithful to our founding principles. We were established, and I quote, for the benefit of all mankind. And we were the only higher education institute to be established in Scotland during the time of the Enlightenment. A real distinction for this place. And we're now driving that same strategy with the energy and excitement that our founder found in the late 18th century, in that same exciting spirit, making it wholly relevant for the 21st century. And our founder, Professor John Anderson, a physicist indeed, or natural philosopher, as he would have been referred to at the time, had strong links with Benjamin Franklin, the American inventor and academic, who was one of the founders of the University of Pennsylvania. He set that, with others, up in 1751 under the motto of useful knowledge. And that influenced our founder, John Anderson, who met Franklin many times with the creation of Strathclyde's motto of useful learning. And never has that philosophy been so relevant since our establishment over 200 years ago. And our motto, which should always be remembered by our staff and students, still defines our purpose as a leading international technological university that is also committed to being socially progressive. Across our campus, and in the buildings that you will have passed today on your way here to the Barony Hall, our academics and students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight disease and illnesses. For example, we currently have several drugs on clinical trials in the areas of cancer treatment, degenerative kidney disease, infection management and inflammatory disease. Strathclyders are also producing the energy technologies of the future and defining policy solutions to tackle climate change and to establish a low-carbon economy. You heard from Sarah earlier on, Strathclyde is at the sharp end of revolutionising global manufacturing to help create the fourth industrial revolution, so-called Industry 4.0. Our students continue their work in Africa to establish water and power supplies and to deploy healthcare systems in remote communities. They're bringing prosthetic limb technologies to those in need in India. And we're also working to inform public policy and our national economic strategy. Our staff in the Technology and Innovation Centre just off George Street, or our TIC building as we call it, in George Street, work with industry on energy, photonics, bio-nanosystems and pharmaceuticals. And Thomas Edison, who I referred earlier, called his technical team and laboratories his inventions factory. And the TIC has become our innovations factory, working in partnership with industry and other colleagues. And we acquired the building immediately adjacent to it in January, the Innovo building. We bought that from Scottish Enterprise, reinforcing Strathclyde's leadership in creating Scotland's first innovation district, now becoming the Glasgow City Innovation District. Over the next 2 years, we'll invest further over £100 million in dealing with industrial informatics, 5G communications, space technology, medtech, quantum technology, at the sharp end, creating great opportunities for our students and creating an impact for the Scottish economy and society at large. But most importantly, here at Strathclyde, we provide people with opportunities to transform their lives and the lives of their families. And as mentioned earlier, we still attract many first-generation university students here to Strathclyde. And through useful learning, we also give business and industry the tools that they need to be more innovative, to promote economic growth, and to create jobs that provide us all with a quality of life that is both sustainable and healthy. And that's just some of the reasons that we've had a terrific sequence of independent recognition of what we do and how we do it. In recent years, we've been recognised by the Times Higher Education Annual Awards by picking up, for example, the UK Research Project of the Year, an alliance between electrical engineering and SIBS, using pulsed electric fields to kill pathogens. We were UK University of the Year, followed quickly by the award of UK Entrepreneurial University of the Year. Last year, we were the UK Business School of the Year. Also last year, we became the recipient of the UK Workplace of the Year, which speaks not only about what we do, but how we do it as a team, based around our values and our mutual respect. And of course, being socially progressive means engaging well with our local communities and trying to be well engaged with our staff. We have won awards for our TransEdu programme, meeting with our staff and our students in that journey of gender definition, and also through Equally Safe, where Strathclyde is at the sharp end of challenging the causes and the environments that can lead to gender-based violence, because we are progressive, we take risks, and we're happy to make sure we make a difference in society. So Strathclyde continues to demonstrate the ability to have disproportionate impacts, principally through all of you, our graduates, but also in the quality of our research and the highly effective ways through which we create value and impact by translating our knowledge. Again, our most important and valuable product are our students, our graduates and our postgraduates that make a difference, but also the things that we do, the thinking that we make to have a benefit to society, industry and our public sector partners. We're a driver for sustainable growth, and Strathclyde maintains a distinctive role for this, not only in Scotland, but internationally. Our universities must be seen as a strategic investment, and while the Scottish Government invests some £1.2 billion per annum in Scottish universities, we return almost £7 billion worth of value back into the Scottish economy, and Strathclyde makes a disproportionate contribution to that. And certainly, the staff and students in the Faculty of Science over the past year gives me great confidence that we'll continue to do that into the future. And let me give you just a few, very few, potted examples of the impact that this faculty is making. Just last week, it was recognised that your faculty, the science faculty, was the main academic driver for the creation of the world's first medicines manufacturing innovation centre, which is a £52 million investment in an industry-scale facility to be built out at the Glasgow Airport. You heard from Sarah Jardine earlier on. This National Manufacturing Institute for Scotland has been catalysed by Strathclyde. Our ambition, our investments, the leadership we've shown through our engineering and science excellence to create what will turn out to be billions of pounds worth of value. And with the new medicines manufacturing centre being based there, we can see that we're bringing industry alongside the public sector and academia with GSK and AstraZeneca in particular, finding ways of sustainably making medicines and using flexible manufacturing processes. Strathclyde is proud to host the only Fraunhofer Centre in the UK. The Chief Executive is here in the audience today with us, a German organisation that translates world-leading research into high-impact commercial technology, principally in partnership with physicists here at Strathclyde and colleagues from other institutions. I'm delighted to say we've just helped them attract further 5 years of support, which is distinguishing the Scottish science and technology community. But this socially progressive activity is written through everything that we do, and very recently we had school pupils with additional support needs here on the campus enjoying 2 hands-on events in May, taking part in Young Chemical Ambassadors programmes and the Saltires Science Festival events. Other things that's happening in pure and applied chemistry, Professors Karen Fald and Professor Eva Hevia, another 2 highly accomplished women, both in pure and applied chemistry, were named Fellows of the Royal Society of Edinburgh. A novel approach to enhancing brain activity is being explored in research led by Dr. Shuzo Sakata in SIBS, in a bid to prevent the development of Alzheimer's disease. Strathclyde also joined a UK-wide programme addressing challenging healthcare issues through the use of data science. Professor Marion Benny, who is here on the stage with us, is involved in a programme of £30 million worth of investment awarded by Health Data Research UK to 6 sites across the UK, with Strathclyde being one of the key partners. A company called MGB Biopharma, a biopharmaceutical company associated with Strathclyde developing novel anti-infectives, was awarded a grant of around £3 million from Innovate UK to go to stage 2A of clinical trials of a Clostridium difficile treatment discovered here at the University of Strathclyde. And I'm delighted to say Strathclyde was ranked first in the UK for pharmacy and pharmacology in the 2018-19 Complete University Guide, and we still are globally recognised by the Times Higher analysis of the REF results. This is every 6 years, every element of research is analysed across the UK universities, and we have the #1 physics department for research quality in the UK, according to the Times Higher publication. And our students do more than study and enjoy the Students' Union, although that's an important part of their development. Maths and Stats student Holly MacArthur competed with Scotland's athletics squad at the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games, and we brought back a gold and bronze medal from those games, so well done to our students. And the research that we do makes a big impact. Colleague Professor Dino Jaroszynski in physics has been working on a new source of intense terahertz radiation, offering a less harmful alternative to X-rays, which could have a massive effect on healthcare. And I could go on, but won't. So to our graduates, to those of you in the hall today, that's the exciting context within which you should view your degree awards today. You're now graduates of a university that places students at the heart of all that we do. We value excellence in both education and research, and we create strong connections with society at large, as well as with the business world. And importantly, with regard to internationalisation, fundamental to a healthy world, a world where we can all share and enjoy exchanges. The best universities in the world contribute, collaborate and compete on the international stage. And with our research agenda these days, with the quality of our students, we are no different. And our core strategic institutional partners on the globe, in the States, for example, that includes Stanford, New York University and MIT, with growing partnerships at Caltech and University of Southern California. In China, we work with Tsinghua universities in Beijing and Peking University and the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. In Singapore, Nanyang Technological University and the National University of Singapore. And we have a raft of high-quality partnerships across Europe, which will continue to be important to us in spite of this unfortunate decision about Brexit. We will continue to make sure that we are a well-connected European institution. I chair an entity called CESAR, which is a consortium of 51 world-class institutions across Europe, giving opportunities to our students and trying to show our politicians what collaboration, open borders and shared vision means. And the European vision might be changing in trade terms, but it won't change in terms of our philosophy and our ethos of partnership. And our students, of course, directly draw benefit from being a part of an international university. It helps them emerge with the skills so necessary to help themselves and indeed Scotland to play a full part in the world. And our students have also been exposed to many different cultures and traditions. But most importantly, new graduates, you leave here understanding your obligations as global citizens. And as well as having an impact on the global stage, we take our local responsibilities very seriously. We've provided leadership for the past 5 years in the Glasgow Economic Leadership Board, which I have the privilege of chairing, trying to reimagine Glasgow's future in the same spirit as the merchants did at the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century, where these organisations and individuals created the wealth that we're still standing on. And we're now trying to drive that through in life sciences, low-carbon energy, manufacturing, tourism and events, finance and business studies. But we keep our doors wide open to the young people of Glasgow as well as the international community. We are delighted that we remain the leading Scottish research-intensive university for widening participation in our programmes, from students that come from some of the most challenged backgrounds in Scotland. Over 1,000 of these young people joined us in October last year. Already we are through our 2020 target for widening access, some 500 of them coming from the lowest quintile in socioeconomic measures. But they're good, they're motivated, and when they come here, we are absolutely focused on their success. And during that same period, Strathclyde maintained its position as 6th in the UK for entrance requirements, making a nonsense of the notion that if you have a widening participation strategy, it must impact on the quality of your entrance or experience. I'll have none of that. If you make it a strategic priority and you focus your students, staff and resources around it, much more can be done in that sense. And 2 weeks ago, we had our first graduation of the year. We had 203 youngsters aged 6 to 12 in the Children's University marching across this stage, wearing their gowns and their mortarboards, so they were a little bit ahead of you. They had their mortarboards as well as their capes, from over 20 students across Glasgow. Most of their families would rush past the university door because it's a place not for them. But we work with these young people, and collectively that group of youngsters had put in 18,000 hours of additional work in after-school activities with sport, culture, visiting the museums, all with a little learning passport. So if they go to the Kelvin Grove Museum, they get a stamp on their passport. They go to the Science Centre, stamp on their passport. And when they fill it up, they get a bachelor's degree from the Children's University. And if they keep going, I had one wee girl that got her master's degree. 10 years of age. She's moving from football now to boxing lessons, so that was, I shook her hand very carefully, I have to say. And she's now going on, yes, to do a PhD in the Children's University. And it will be these youngsters that we'll be welcoming into Strathclyde in the coming years. And that, for me, epitomises what Strathclyde is all about. Wonderful education, outstanding graduates, fantastic knowledge discovery and making a difference. So if I characterise this place, your place, in 2018, I would describe as of having ambition, focus and momentum, with the agility and commitment to deliver our strategy and to overcome the continuing challenges that our sector faces and the political uncertainties that compound them. And it's a great privilege for me to lead this fantastic institution with the outstanding support I have from my executive team, my academic colleagues and support teams that are here from across the institution. And I believe strongly that our founder, John Anderson, would recognise what we are doing today as the realisation of what he sought to establish at the Enlightenment period. Strathclyde now seeks in this modern society to be an agent for positive change in Glasgow, Scotland, UK and on the world stage. So to all of you in the Barony Hall, I am certain that today's graduates will have an enormous impact on society and that 2018 can truly become a vintage year. So with that in mind, and as I conclude, when you leave this hall today, you leave not just with an award, but with some responsibilities. Today's graduates now join our alumni, some 175,000 individuals around the world. So whatever you do with your degree and wherever you go to pursue your career, remember that useful learning means that you apply your knowledge for the benefit of others, make a positive impact for yourselves and the communities that you belong to, respect diversity, value freedom of expression and thought, and reach conclusions and resolve disputes through reason and tolerance. These characterise the core values of your university. And returning to today's celebration, we are all here to proudly mark the achievements of those that have been awarded their degrees. On behalf of the university, I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations to all of you and wish you every success in the future. Please stay in touch with us and let us know about your progress. Once again, well done, and please enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you very much. So as we close the ceremony, we will be leaving the stage once I close the graduation process. We will process along the hall. The graduates will be most welcome to join us. To all the family and friends, we'll be convening over at the Lord Todd for some refreshments, and hopefully I can get round a few of you. But anyway, as always, a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your careers, and make sure you stay in touch. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I will close today's ceremony and ask you to be upstanding. Thank you.